Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Vida Live. This is our March Vida Live, and I was counting today, and this is our 8th one. So if you've been coming along with us for this, thank you. If you're new and if this is your first time, I just want to say welcome. Today, we are highlighting agriculture and what's going on in Guatemala, and that's kind of the goal for these Vida Lives. We want to share with you guys live and real time what's going on in Guatemala. And I guess I should say my name is Kristen and I'm operation manager here in Canada. And it's just, again, such a joy to have you guys with us. It's, again, great to see some familiar faces and great to meet some of you guys for the first time. So I'm going to just hand it over to Les, who is joining us. And he can just tell exactly where he is and who he's with. So Les, I'll just hand it right over to you.
Okay, great. Well, it's great having you all join us. And I know there will be others joining us on YouTube after the fact, but we're broadcasting here from outside, just outside our home. Our home is just a little bit this way, and the orphanage is just another stone's throw away. I couldn't quite hit it with the stone from here, but behind us is the greenhouse, and we're standing in a coffee plantation here. And probably the best part about today is Edgar is here with us. And Edgar was, well, I'll let him tell the story, but Edgar has been a part of Impact Ministries in some senses, in many senses, even before we arrived. And so I have some prepared questions that were sent to me from Canada. And those of you who are watching live, think of your own questions because we're looking forward to answering them in a few minutes. So Edgar, what is your role with Impact and how did you get involved? ¿Qué es su papel? Es la pregunta.
Sí. Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Es para mí un gran gozo estar aquí.
For me, it's a great joy to be here.
Es una experiencia nueva.
This is a new experience for me.
Nunca he tenido una experiencia de en vivo.
I've never had an experience doing something like this in live.
¿Cómo estoy involucrado acá?
How am I involved here?
Yo creo que cuando el Señor escogió sus discípulos,
I believe that when the Lord chose his disciples,
Él los escogió.
he was the one who chose them.
Y no es que buscó a los mejores.
He didn't look for the best.
Pero escogió a los que se podían involucrar en la idea y en la visión y en lo que él estaba haciendo.
But he found those who were ready to get involved in the idea and the purpose that he was here for and what he was going to do.
Entonces, cuando me involucraron, me dijeron que fuera parte del ministerio como maestro.
And so when they got me involved in the ministry as a teacher,
ya era alumno.
I had been a student in the schools.
Y después cuando me pidieron también ser parte de la junta del ministerio.
And then later they asked me to be a part of the board of the ministry here in Guatemala.
Entonces yo siento que yo me fui involucrando en el ministerio.
I got involved in that way in the ministry.
Y a mí me tomaron para involucrarme.
And so it's more like they took me and they involved me.
Sí, y ahora estamos apoyando a hermano Les y hermana Rita.
And now we're here helping Brother Les and Sister Rita.
Y al ministerio en la visión y la misión.
And the ministry in the vision and the mission.
Y entonces hay para mí unas formas de liderazgo.
For me, there are certain things about leadership.
Es alguien que ve algo.
Leadership means that there's somebody who sees something
y inicia a hacer algo.
And initiates doing something.
Y ese es el fundador.
And that's the founder.
Y hay otros
and there are others
que se agregan al liderazgo.
So they take on leadership.
Y apoyan al fundador en la visión que tiene.
And they help the founder with the vision that they have.
Y yo creo que yo estoy en la parte de apoyar.
And I'm that part of helping.
Y porque me involucraron.
And they got me involved.
No. Ahora es nuestro ministerio.
And now it's our ministry.
Y entonces estoy involucrado en el ministerio.
And so I'm involved in the ministry.
En diferentes cosas.
In different things.
Algunas de las cosas, la cosa tal vez más importante en la que estamos involucrados es en la agricultura.
So the area that I'm involved in that is most important is agriculture.
Pero también estamos involucrados en otras cosas.
But we're also involved in other things in the ministry.
Entonces contestando a la pregunta
So answering the question,
de cuál es mi papel en el ministerio
what's my role in the ministry?
es producir los alimentos para los niños en los colegios.
Is to produce vegetables, food for the children in the schools.
Y eso es lo que estamos haciendo acá en estos terrenos.
And that's what we're doing here on these pieces of land that we're standing on.
Y también estamos involucrados en la producción de plantitas dentro del vivero.
And we're also involved in planting seedlings in the greenhouse.
Ajá, y el cuidado de las plantas de café.
And watching over and caring for the coffee plants.
Entonces, en eso, ese es nuestro papel en el ministerio y ayudar también en la casa hogar.
And we also help in the children's home, the orphanage.
Y hay dones que todos somos importantes.
We are all important.
Y tal vez no ejerzo un liderazgo ahí.
No, okay.
Yo no tengo un liderazgo en la casa hogar.
I don't have leadership in the children's home.
Pero hace años era un sueño que yo tenía.
But years ago, it was a dream that I had.
Y
and
otros.
And yo voy a agregar algo. And it was part of the reason we have a children's home and orphanage is because Edgar was talking about the dream that he's had ever since he was a child. Yeah, excelente.
Entonces, la parte que yo puedo hacer ahí es, bueno, si quieren que yo maneje para llevar a un niño al hospital o llevarlo a algún lugar, yo voy.
So I will do whatever I can to help there. And so if they ask me to drive a vehicle and take a child to the hospital, I'll go.
Entonces, yo estoy dispuesto.
Gracias. ¿Qué plantas? Oh, I better keep this in English. What plants are growing right now? And what is the growing season in Guatemala?
Aquí en el ministerio están creciendo el café que ya tiene ahora 2 años.
Coffee is growing here. And I'm just going to take you off to the side here and show you some coffee. It's been growing here for 2 años.
2 años.
2 years. So have a look over here. So these are our coffee plants. And if you look right in here, but if you look right here, there's the coffee plant. These are ready. So they're ready to go, nice and red and ripe. So that's our coffee plants. And what do you say about the coffee?
Pues café, ¿qué es lo que nosotros estamos admirados de lo que el Señor está haciendo?
We are amazed at what the Lord is doing.
Es que cuando comenzamos a ir a ver las fincas que están aquí alrededor.
When we started looking at all the coffee plantations in our area.
Y estábamos pensando en sembrar el café.
And we were thinking about planting the coffee.
Y fuimos a preguntar a unas personas.
We went to ask several people about it.
Y preguntamos, bueno, ¿cuánto produce usted?
How much do you produce?
Por una manzana.
For 1 manzana, which is 1.7 acres.
Entonces, ellos dijeron, bueno, cuando es una cosecha normal, son 90 quintales.
When it's a normal harvest, about 90, 100-pound sacks.
Y si tenemos una buena cosecha, son 120 a 130 quintales.
And if we have a really good harvest, 120 to 130, 100-pound sacks.
Entonces, nosotros teníamos que escoger un buen material para sembrarlo.
So we've got a good product to plant.
Y buscamos asesoría porque
and we got some counsel on how to do this.
Porque es la mejor forma de hacer las
What's
cosas.
the best way to do it?
Y encontramos este material de café.
And we've got this coffee plant, this type of coffee plant.
Y entonces nosotros vamos a cosechar en la primera cosecha. Acá se le llama ensayo, todavía no se le considera una cosecha como
okay,
cosecha.
so this isn't really a harvest because it's only after 2 years. The real harvest comes after 3 years.
Y nosotros vamos a tener como 75 quintales la manzana.
So we're going to have about 75 100-pound sacks per manzana per 1.7 acres, which is amazing.
Sí, eso es maravilloso.
Wow. ¿Y qué otras plantas tiene? Seguramente la gente van a tener preguntas. For sure, people will have some other questions about the coffee, but because of time, ¿qué otras plantas tiene en hortalizas?
Tenemos muchas plantas.
Okay, we've got lots of plants.
Tenemos tomates.
We got tomato.
Chiles pimientos.
peppers,
chiles jalapeños,
hot peppers, jalapeños.
apios,
Apio, ¿qué es apio? Apio es celery.
¿sí?
Ajá.
Tenemos cebollas,
Onions,
remolachas,
beets,
zanahorias,
carrots,
coliflores,
cauliflower,
brócolis,
broccoli.
repollos,
Repollo is cabbage.
¿sí? Acelgas,
Acelga. Oh, that's kind of like Swiss chard.
sí, eso
Okay,
es.
Swiss chard.
Ajá,
You
rábanos,
should speak English. You know the words better than I do. ¿Qué más?
rábanos,
Rábanos.
radish,
Radishes.
Sí.
See, saying it in English.
y cilantro.
And cilantro.
Hay más cosas,
So,
¿verdad?
so we're giving this all out to the children in the schools, like thousands and thousands of pounds.
Sí, entonces nosotros tenemos también una planta que solo nosotros la producimos aquí en Tactic.
And we have another plant that we are the only ones who produce it here in Tactic.
Y por muchos años estuvimos presionando a una empresa que queríamos esa semilla.
We've been pressuring a company to provide us with the seed for many years.
Porque no era una semilla que vendían
Because
aquí
it
en este
wasn't
país.
a seed that we could get in this country.
Y esa semilla le dicen kale.
And it's kale.
Sí, entonces nosotros producimos esa planta
And we
acá para
produce
comer
this.
a los.
And the reason we're producing kale and acelga Swiss chard, is because they're very high in iron, and many of our children are iron deficient. So we're providing, when school is in, 8,000 meals per week. And when school isn't in, during COVID, we're providing hampers to all those families. Excellent, excelente. Entonces, otra pregunta, ¿cuántas personas? Well, many people ask about Guatemala Coffee. Can you fill? Oh, we've already done that question. We got ahead. How do the Impact Ministries Agriculture projects help the people in Guatemala? ¿Cómo ayudan a la gente?
Sí, aquí mi vida propia
My personal life
ha sido bendecida con el ministerio,
has been blessed by the ministry.
¿verdad? Y el proyecto de agricultura
And the agricultural project
bendice a muchas personas.
blesses many people.
Por ejemplo, para la cosecha del café,
For example, the coffee harvest,
entonces vienen al menos unas 50 personas.
there's about people, at least 50 people coming.
Entonces hay mucho trabajo para la
And
gente.
so there's
Hay
work for
trabajo.
the people.
Y hay personas que trabajan todo el año.
And there are people who work all year
Y
in agricultura.
agricultura.
Yeah, so we have employees that work all year long.
Por ejemplo, las personas que trabajan en el vivero,
For example, the people who work behind us in the greenhouse,
ahí se tiene que trabajar todo el año.
those people have to work there all year.
No se descansa ni domingo.
There's never a rest for them.
Ahí no se puede
And on
descansar.
Sundays, you can't take Sunday off.
Entonces, las familias están bendecidas.
So the families are blessed
Hay
con
mucho
trabajo,
con trabajo.
with work. They're blessed with work.
Entonces, yo creo que a la gente se le ayuda con el trabajo,
And so we help the people with providing work.
porque tenemos personas que trabajan acá
We have people who are working here with us.
que viven cerca.
They live close by.
Entonces, vienen al trabajo
They come to work,
y luego regresan a su casa
and later they go back home to their houses,
y están contentos.
and they're happy.
Y hay gente que se vino a trabajar de otro lado para acá
And there are other people who come from farther away to work here
y también están contentos de
They're
estar
happy.
trabajando acá.
because they have work.
Y entonces el área de agricultura bendice a la gente con
So-
trabajo.
So the agricultural area is helping people with work. Okay, ¿cuántas personas están empleados? Oh, I'm saying it in Spanish again. I'll say it in English. How many people are employed by the agricultural project?
Actualmente solo hay 14 personas
So actually, full-time are 14 people.
porque no necesitamos demasiadas personas
We
para
don't need a
trabajar,
lot of people all the time.
porque el café pues no necesita demasiadas personas para trabajar.
We don't need a lot of people to work the coffee all year long.
Ahora, las hortalizas sí necesitan un poco más de personas y
But all the
entonces ahí hay un
vegetables,
poco
they
más de
need more
personas.
people. And so we have more people employed to keep the vegetables in production.
Y en el invernadero se necesitan
And-
solo 2 personas ahí,
And so we have 2 people hired full-time
porque es
in
un
the
trabajo muy
greenhouse.
técnico.
because that's a very technical work.
Entonces es poca gente.
¿Cuántos pilones pueden sembrar en todo la vivero si está lleno?
Si está lleno el vivero,
So if the greenhouse is full,
podemos plantar
We can plant
400,000 plantas
400,000 plants
si logramos llenarlo.
if we can fill it. We have to have sales. We have to have
Uh-huh.
sales to do that. Okay. The next question: what is one dream you have for the agriculture sector with Impact Ministries? ¿Qué es un sueño que tiene de este sector?
El sector de la agricultura
In the sector of agriculture,
en general en nuestro país
in our country in general,
yo digo que el agricultor es de las personas, o el trabajo de agricultura es uno de los trabajos más nobles.
one of the things about agricultural work is it's considered a very noble, honorable type of work.
Porque uno está trabajando no solo para que coma uno.
Yeah, because a person isn't only just working for what you yourself eat.
Entonces está uno trabajando para darle comida a los demás.
And so you're working to provide for food for others.
Y lo otro es que es el trabajo más castigado, ¿verdad? Castigado desde el punto de vista económico.
Okay, so it's an area of the economy that suffers a lot economically.
Sí, porque uno produce acá.
Because a person produces.
Y va al mercado.
Goes to the market.
Y los precios son muy bajos a veces.
And sometimes the prices are really low.
Acá, en el área que estamos nosotros.
In the area where we are.
Así funciona.
That's how it works.
Entonces, estamos bendecidos
so we are blessed because,
porque acá se producen muchas verduras.
Because we are producing a lot of vegetables.
¿Verdad? Pero, ¿cuál es el sueño que nosotros estamos buscando? Es cuando comenzamos a sembrar café.
When we started planting coffee.
El sueño es que llegue a sus casas.
Our dream is that it would go to your homes.
Que puedan oler nuestro café.
That you could smell our coffee.
Que puedan tomar nuestro café.
And you could drink our coffee.
Ese es el sueño.
That's the dream.
Entonces, y sería un milagro también.
And it would be a miracle for this to all come about.
Porque nosotros no sabemos nada de exportar.
Because we know nothing about exporting.
No tenemos conocimiento.
We don't have understanding of that.
Pero yo creo que el Señor puede hacer algo.
But we believe the Lord can do something.
Con las personas correctas.
With the correct people.
Entonces, el sueño es poder llevar nuestro café a Canadá o a Estados Unidos.
So our dream is to export our coffee to Canada and the United States.
Y poder generar
and generate
un fondo.
A fund.
Para seguir ayudando.
To continue helping the people.
¿Verdad? Porque para seguir cumpliendo la misión del ministerio.
So we can continue fulfilling the mission of the ministry.
Porque la visión del ministerio es levantar líderes.
Because the vision of the ministry is to raise up leaders.
Y líderes locales de aquí.
Local leaders here.
Que amen a la gente.
That love the people.
Que trabajen por la gente.
And work for the people.
Que sirvan a la gente.
That serve the people.
Que entendamos el valor que la vida tiene.
So that they would understand the value that life has.
Y nuestra vida vale tanto.
And our life is worth so much.
Que el Señor un día murió por nosotros.
And for that reason, one day the Lord died for us.
Entonces, y si nosotros hacemos cosas por los demás.
And if we do things for other people.
Entonces, nosotros estamos haciendo para el Señor.
And we're doing it for the Lord.
Y vamos a tener una vida eterna.
Then we will have an eternal life.
Sí, entonces el sueño de nosotros es.
So our dream is.
Con el área de agricultura.
With the area of agriculture.
Con los hortalizas.
And with all the vegetables, for example.
Llevarle verduras a todos los niños que tenemos en los colegios. Eso estamos haciendo.
Take vegetables to all the children in all our schools.
Y ahora con esta crisis.
And with this crisis that we're in right now.
Que hay a nivel mundial.
Or in the world level.
El Señor nos ha bendecido.
The Lord has blessed us a lot.
¿Verdad? Y hemos producido bastante comida.
We have produced a lot of food.
Porque las restricciones en este país.
And the restrictions in this country.
Fueron bastante duras al
were
principio.
Really hard at the beginning.
tenía uno que estar en su casa.
Everybody had to stay in their homes.
Y en este país no puedes quedarte en tu casa.
And in this country, you can't stay in your home.
Más si eres hombre.
And even more if you're a man.
Y tienes una esposa e hijos.
And if you have a wife and children that you have to
Tienes que
support,
trabajar.
you have to work.
Entonces, cuando producimos verduras
And so we're producing vegetables.
y llevábamos bolsas de
And
verduras
we were taking bags of vegetables
a las casas,
to the homes,
era una bendición.
and it was a blessing.
Sí.
Okay, we're just about out of time, but I'll ask one more question. And you've kind of answered this already, how have you seen God's hand at work through this area of the ministry? ¿Cómo ha visto? Ya casi está contestando, pero ya casi no tenemos tiempo, pero ¿cómo ha visto el Señor? How have you seen the Lord work?
Primero,
First,
tenemos acá
we have here
el vivero.
this greenhouse behind us.
Tal vez para Estados Unidos o Canadá
Maybe in Canada and the United States,
es algo muy común.
it's something very common.
Pero hasta en los años que se estableció este vivero,
But when this greenhouse was built,
era el único en todo Guatemala.
it was the only one in Guatemala like it.
Entonces, eso es estamos viendo la mano del Señor
So
sobre
we're
nosotros,
seeing the hand of the Lord among us.
¿verdad?
¿Puede explicar un poco de esta historia?
Sí, pues originalmente queríamos producir las verduras
We originally wanted to produce vegetables,
y estábamos tratando de producirlas,
and we were trying to produce them,
pero no teníamos mucho éxito.
but we weren't having much success.
Entonces vino hermano Casey
But Brother Casey from Canada,
y entonces
he came
dijo, bueno, aquí
and he said, here
necesitan algo,
you need something.
necesitan un vivero, un
You
invernadero.
need a greenhouse.
Y entonces
And
él
so,
con sus amigos
Him with his friends,
comenzó un proyecto
they began a project,
y trajo este maravilloso regalo.
and they brought us this marvelous gift.
Y es increíble
And it's incredible
porque vienen muchos estudiantes de diferentes universidades del país
So there are students from different universities in the country coming here,
y vienen a ver,
and they come here to see what
Ver-
we've got,
¿verdad? Porque es algo único.
because it's the only one like it.
Y entonces es maravilloso lo
It's
que el
marvelous.
Señor está haciendo.
What the Lord is doing, that we
Sí.
would, like, to me, the amazing thing is we're living in one of the poorest sections of the country, and yet we have the highest level of technology in the greenhouse agricultural area. And this is just a huge blessing. And we're so grateful for Edgar for seeing it through, and for people like KC Howling. So if you have an opportunity to buy howling tomatoes in Costco or wherever you are, please pick out the holly ones. This is a little bit ad for you there, Casey, if you're watching this. We're so grateful. What a miracle. What a miracle.
Es un milagro.
It's a miracle.
Y los otros milagros que les contaba
And the other miracles that I told you about
es que nosotros estábamos produciendo cierta cantidad de verduras
and we're producing this quantity of vegetables
para los colegios.
for the schools.
Pero cuando vino la pandemia,
But when the epidemic came,
entonces comenzó a venir muchos fondos
funds came
de Canadá
from Canada and the United States.
y nosotros trabajamos más
And so we worked even harder producing more vegetables.
y produjimos el doble.
And we produced the double what we normally produce.
Ajá, y lo regalamos
And we gave it out as gifts
a
to
todos los hogares de los niños.
all the homes of the children. That's 1,700 children.
Sí.
So
Ese es un
increíble.
milagro.
It's a miracle.
Porque
It's a
cuando
miracle.
otros estaban quejando que no había trabajo y no había comida,
Others have been complaining that there wasn't work or there wasn't food.
el Señor a nosotros nos está dando trabajo.
The Lord was
comida.
giving us work and food. Okay, that comes to the end of our questions. Kristen, I don't know if you have more questions for us, or I don't even know what time it is, if we're behind or ahead of schedule, but I'll turn it back to you. And if you have more questions, that would be great.
Perfect. No, that's great. And as Les said, now is kind of a chance for you guys to really ask them some questions. So we have a chat at the bottom of the screen. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in. And I think it's just so encouraging to hear what's going on down there. It's so encouraging to just see Even the fact that, 8,000 meals are provided to the children every single week, and that comes from the fields there. So it's so encouraging just to see that and to hear what's going on. So again, if anyone has any questions, please just write them in the chat and we'll read them out. And I'll start just with one. What's kind of like a typical week look like there?
Are you talking about in the area of agriculture?
Yeah.
Okay. ¿Puede explicar qué pasa en la semana en agricultura? ¿Qué son las cosas que necesitan hacer?
¿Qué se hace cada día?
Cada semana.
Cada semana.
So,
hay una programación.
So we have it's all programmed.
Sí, entonces los días lunes.
On Mondays.
Todos los lunes es día de cosecha.
Yeah, Mondays we harvest all day.
Entonces, eso es día de cosecha.
That's the day of harvest.
Entonces los días martes.
Tuesdays.
Días martes son días de aplicación de productos para limpiar para los insectos y para las malezas.
We deal with insects and weeds on Tuesdays.
¿Verdad? Entonces, y los miércoles
and Wednesdays
son días de fertilizar.
It's fertilizing,
limpiar.
Applying fertilizer and weeding again.
Y los días jueves
and Thursdays.
Viernes son días que plantan.
Those are the days that Thursday and Friday, those are the days that we plant.
¿Verdad? Entonces, y los días sábados.
And sábado, Saturday.
Entonces, hay diferentes trabajos que hay que terminar y
different things that we have to finish up.
Ajá, entonces, pero los días lunes, todos los lunes es día de cosecha.
But every Monday is harvest. And I think it's one of the beautiful things about Guatemala. It's called the land of eternal spring. And so you can harvest something all year long.
Es mi parte favorita.
That's my favorite part is
porque
Mondays.
La cosecha me
because
gusta más.
I like the harvesting the best.
Ajá.
Okay.
Awesome. We have another question here. Will you be switching from vegetables to grow more coffee plant?
Va a cambiar sembrando verduras y sembrar más café? No.
Ahorita.
¿Cómo? No, I don't quite understand the question. Are we going to stop growing vegetables? Is that the question?
I think so. Like, will you go kind of more towards the coffee? Is that correct, James?
Okay, ¿va a llegar más café o no vamos a dejar las verduras?
No, las verduras se van a seguir
Okay,
produciendo.
no, we're going to continue producing vegetables.
Es que hay una razón muy fuerte.
Because there's a really big reason for that.
Porque el 65%
about 65%
de la población de Alta Verapaz
of the population in Alta Verapaz, our state,
tienen desnutrición,
are malnourished.
¿verdad? Y hay otro porcentaje que están
and there's another percentage that is even worse.
Entonces, y además a los colegios
and more in the schools,
llegan muchos niños que no tienen todas sus comidas en el día.
Many of the children who come to our schools, they don't get 3 meals a day.
Entonces nosotros no vamos a dejar de producir comida.
So we're not going to stop producing food. They need food.
Porque es una cosa muy importante.
It's a really important thing.
Porque cuando llegan los niños,
because when the children come to school,
comen sus comidas,
and they eat their meals,
y después pueden recibir sus clases.
Later they receive their classes.
Ahora se está haciendo diferente, que estamos mandando la comida a las casas.
And right now, when the pandemic has been on, we've been sending the food to their homes.
Ajá, pero no vamos a dejar de producir.
But we're not going to stop producing.
Verduras.
We're not going to stop producing vegetables.
Vamos a ir creciendo, creo que poco, porque es conforme van creciendo los colegios.
So we're going to continue increasing the vegetable production in at the same rate that our schools increase in numbers. We have 1,700 children in our schools. Okay, good question.
So kind of over the last year, we know that food hampers have been popular and those have definitely come more. Is there any kind of story that really sticks out from delivering those food hampers or seeing some of your staff deliver the food hampers?
Víveres que van a la casa y que está muy impresionante.
Pues como nosotros nos dedicamos más al área de producirlas.
Okay, so he's saying we are dedicated to the area of production.
Entonces, y el área que lo reparte,
And the ones who deliver it
son principalmente los colegios.
are the schools that deliver it.
Entonces, nosotros no tenemos muchas historias.
So we don't have a lot of stories.
Y lo que sí puedo decir yo
What I can say to you,
es que en nuestra área,
in our area,
no es precisamente con alimentos,
not just with food,
pero fue para el tiempo en el que vino una tormenta acá.
there was a time when a big storm came here.
Ajá, y uno de nuestros trabajadores
And one of our workers
perdió su casa.
lost their house completely.
Y entonces había un programa para ayudar con alimentos.
And there was a program that we had helping people who had suffered from the hurricane damage with food.
Ajá, pero también tenía una opción para poder ayudar a personas que habían sido muy afectadas.
But there was another program in the ministry that was helping people who had big losses, like their homes lost.
Y ese trabajador de nosotros,
And my worker,
ahora tiene, el ministerio le ayudó con parte de su casa.
the ministry helped him with rebuilding his house.
Entonces ahora él está muy contento.
And so he's really happy.
Porque ya no es un joven.
And
Él ya no es un joven.
he's not a young man anymore.
Él tiene más de 70 años.
He's more than 70 years old. Wow.
Más o menos 70 años.
About 70 years old.
Y ver el fruto de su trabajo, de su vida destruido.
And to see the fruit of his labors, all his working life destroyed.
Eso afecta mucho.
That affected him a lot.
Pero ver ahora algo nuevo.
But now he has a new house.
Eso da un segundo aliento.
That gives him a second breath. Good question. But as Edgar says, we build almost everything in the ministry around relationship, and with the schools, we're ministering to the children and to their families. And so we want that relationship between the teachers and the principals in the schools to be reinforced and to grow, because they're the ones that are sharing the gospel with those families. And so so that's why the labor is divided up the way it is. And that's where we're seeing the spiritual harvest, the spiritual fruit coming about in the ministry, many people giving their lives to the Lord.
Sí, las historias que hemos escuchado
The stories that we've heard
de parte de los colegios
from the schools,
es que había niños que llegaban y la única comida que tenían era la que les regalábamos.
and some of those children, the only food they get is the food they get from the ministry.
Entonces su motivación era la comida al principio.
So for some of them, their only motivation, or their main motivation at the beginning, was to come to school to get the food.
Y comer.
And they wanted to come and eat.
Sí.
Yeah. So we'll bring them in however they'll come, and once they've got full stomachs and they're ready to listen to the people who have helped build their stomachs, and the Lord's word is going out to those people.
Awesome. So we have another question here, just about coffee. So will you be setting up a facility to dry the coffee for export?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Will you be setting up facilities to dry the coffee for export?
Oh, es buena pregunta. Van a establecer aquí una, ¿cómo se llama? Donde procesan todo el café para sacar la cereza y sacar, o otros van a hacerlo?
Ahorita todavía, ahorita el primer corte lo estamos vendiendo.
So this first harvest that we have right now, we're just selling it right in those cherries. They're called cherries, in those little berries with the fruit around the bean.
Pero la meta es
But
un
the
día
goal is one day,
para tener todo nuestro beneficio, eso se llama beneficio,
it's called a beneficio, which is like a processing plant.
¿verdad? Y tener hacer todo el proceso
To do the whole process
y poderlo enviar después.
and to send it out later. So it comes as a dried bean to Canada. So right here, yo no sé si tiene su cámara listo. I have a bean that has come out of the seed, out of the cherry, And this is what's called a green bean. And this bean hasn't been dried yet. So this is how it comes out of the red cherry. And the person who's asking the question is like, it's quite a process to get it out of that red cherry. And then once it's out of the red cherry like this, then the next step is to dry it. And you need to get about 80% of the humidity out of there. And then it's ready to be shipped. And it can stay, if it's stored with the right humidity and the right temperature, it can be stored almost indefinitely. And then it would be roasted in Canada. Once it's roasted, that's when it starts degrading in quality. And especially if it's roasted and ground, then it starts oxidizing more quickly. So you want it consumed within 30 days of it being ground. So Edgar is saying that the goal would be to have that whole drying process here on site someday. That would be wonderful. Right now, that would be another miracle. Good
Awesome.
question.
Awesome. So I'll end with this question, and this will, again, for all of those who have joined us live, this will kind of end the recording part. This will be our last question, but stay on because we'll let you guys unmute and continue to ask some questions. So our last question for tonight is, how can we best support you from here in Canada and the US?
¿Cómo pueden ayudar más de aquí en Canadá y Estados Unidos? ¿Cómo pueden ayudar al ministerio?
¿Cómo? Ya nos han ayudado bastante.
You've already helped us a lot.
Y estamos muy agradecidos.
And we're very grateful.
Con toda la ayuda.
With all the help.
¿Cómo nos pueden ayudar con este proyecto, con este sueño?
How can you help us with this dream?
Primero, yo creo que todos tenemos ciertas capacidades.
And I believe first, all of us have certain capacities.
Y necesitamos la conexión de allá para acá para poder.
We need the connection, the marketing connection para vender.
Sí, para vender.
Yeah,
eso.
so we need a marketing connection.
Nosotros podemos producir muy
we can
bien,
produce it well,
pero necesitamos la conexión.
But we need a connection. Entonces orar es la única cosa.
Es la única cosa y que alguien también, como el Señor, para el Señor nada es imposible.
For the Lord, nothing's impossible.
Sí, por ejemplo.
For example,
esto, ¿verdad?
What you're seeing behind us here.
¿Cómo íbamos a obtener la conexión para comprar eso?
How will we get the connection to get something like this?
No, es imposible.
It's impossible.
No, yo no conozco a nadie.
I don't know anybody.
Y usted sabe si conocía a alguien.
I don't know if you know anybody.
Pero Dios mandó a alguien.
But God sent someone.
Y ese alguien trajo a otros.
And that person brought others.
Entonces yo creo que así lo puede hacer el Señor.
And I think that's how the Lord works.
Y vamos a pedirle al Señor
and so we're going to ask the Lord
que Él nos ayude en eso.
To help us in this.
Y las conexiones y todo lo que hay que hacer.
The connections and everything that we need to do.
Y también aquí en este país, en Guatemala, que el Señor nos mande.
Also here of the connections that we have here in this country of Guatemala, that the Lord would send us the right people.
Ajá, y estamos muy agradecidos con todo el apoyo.
And we're so grateful for all the help.
No. Lo que mejor pueden hacer es ayudarnos a orar.
The best thing that you can do is pray for us.
¿Verdad? Y este proyecto es muy pequeño.
And this project is very small.
Es pequeño.
It's small.
Y pues si podemos algún día tener algo mucho más grande.
If someday we could produce much more and have a bigger project.
Porque cuando hablamos de producir un contenedor de café.
If we're
vender un contenedor de café al mes.
If we talk about sending one container, shipping container to Canada every month.
Pero aquí no llenamos, pero ya un café seco y procesado. Yo creo que ni medio contenedor con todo lo que tenemos.
With everything that we have right now, we could maybe fill a half a container. So it's small yet.
Entonces, pero es un sueño.
But it's a dream.
Y yo creo que el Señor lo puede hacer.
And I believe the Lord can do it.
Ajá, y podemos creer.
And we can believe.
Cuando comenzamos el proyecto del café.
When we started this project of coffee.
Yo estaba muy preocupado.
I was really worried and concerned.
Yo no sabía si se podía hacer.
I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it.
Porque yo no tenía la experiencia.
I
ni
didn't have
tengo tanta
experience. I
experiencia
didn't
en
have a lot
esto.
of experience growing coffee.
Era un mundo nuevo.
It was a new world for us.
Pero yo me recuerdo cuando me dice, pero tienes que motivarte.
And so when they came, they motivated me.
Sí, y yo estaba preocupado.
I was concerned.
Pero hoy
But
vemos,
today,
es muy bonito.
we see it and it's beautiful.
Y estamos maravillados.
And we're amazed. And so the answer is prayer. Oración. That's the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for just everything that you guys are doing down there in Guatemala and all the work that you're putting in. And thank you everyone for joining us here tonight, whatever time it is for you. It's been great to just be together. Just want to say, just as we conclude for today, that there won't be a VidaLive for April, just because we're trying to do it on the 17th of every month, but April 17th is Easter. So we're going to take a break that month, but then we will be back May 17th, and we're going to be highlighting sponsorship. So write that down, and May 17th will be just focusing on sponsorship, and we have some cool ideas for that one. So stay tuned. And again, just thank you so much for coming tonight, and stick around because we'll let you guys unmute and we can just continue the conversation.